Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of What's It Like? Alex Biviano, his wife Kerry and their two sons Keto and Che own and run a small Italian restaurant in Poultry in the northwest of England called Pulci Pizza. They have a fantastic team of Italian chefs who create the most mouth-watering Italian dishes. This COVID has been really tough on small businesses, especially those in the hospitality and leisure and arts industries. So, I'm going to ask the question, what's it like to own and run a family Italian restaurant? Hello Alex, it's lovely to have you on the show this week and I'm really pleased that you've come to do this. Thank you very, very much. So Alex, tell us a little bit about your restaurant, Pulci Pizza.
Opened in 2011, little family-run pizzeria. Very classic, simple Italian food, cooked with good ingredients, with love, and it's all just about having a bit of fun and nice food. Very small and bijou, but very, very busy up until obviously what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, so it's a family-run business.
100% family-run business, yeah.
Okay. And what do you think the public's preconceptions of someone who owns their own restaurant is?
Some people do think it's glamorous, which, yeah, it is if you enjoy it. But there's a lot of work behind the scenes that is far from glamorous and takes up most of your time. Where you're with the customers is only a very small portion of the actual daily routine.
So you think the general public think that's all you do, come out when it's restaurant time?
Yeah, a lot of them think we've got pixies that come out at night, get everything ready for us, and then we turn up at 5 o'clock, open the doors, and the show starts.
It's a bit like theatre.
Yeah, a little bit like theatre. Yeah.
So can you tell me what the realities are of running your own restaurant? What are the realities?
Well, the biggest reality is leaving the house at 10 in the morning and getting home at midnight.
Right.
That's the biggest reality.
Yeah.
Checking stock that's coming in, making sure that everything that comes in is 100% as you want it. Inevitably, it not always isn't always that way.
Yeah.
So things have to go back, and then all of a sudden you're missing a key item of stock, which you then have to go and source yourself. Right. And then, then on top of that, you've got all the paperwork, all the invoicing, all the bills. Then you're a psychologist with the staff that you have. So yeah, there's a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't see.
So what do you think are the most important things for running a successful restaurant? What are the most important things?
I think everything has to be equally important. Everything. It's like a chain. If you miss one link from that chain, then it's not going to work. So everything from the organisation to the quality of the ingredients, the quality of your stock, the quality and efficiency of your staff.
Yeah.
And then you start, after all the behind the scenes bits, then you start atmosphere, ambience, the actual food itself, the service, so it has to be a complete chain and every single link has to be in place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have been to your restaurant and it has absolutely got an amazing atmosphere, I have to admit. Bijou is an interesting word for it. I would say it's kind of modern, quirky, but you feel that sense of family, don't you, when you're there? You feel you're almost kind of touching shoulders with other people, but it's intimate as well. So you can have an intimate meal with someone, but it's also, if you wanted to be with a load of people, you've got room for some group and all of that thing. But it's also that thing of people, as do in Italy, they will have conversations with people on another table.
And that is the case every night in our restaurant. People who know each other, who live locally, and then complete random strangers end up talking to each other, and because of the size of the place and the intimacy of the place. And I think it helps the fact that we are family. So there's 3 or 4 members of the family working in the restaurant, but also the staff that we have have worked for us for so long, between the restaurant we've got now and the restaurant we had before. They've been with me since then. So they're almost like an extended family as well. You've run
obviously restaurants for a very long time, and like you said, your staff have been with you throughout that process. So like you said, it's not only a family, but I would imagine that they know the way that you work and that the way your family works, and then they work as a family, work all together.
But it's give and take, you know, and I know how my staff work and I know how they respond to certain things. And it's not just about them working around us, it's us working around them as well. It's a give-take relationship.
If I interviewed each one of them, do you think they would say you are a good boss?
I'd like to think they would. I mean, I think the fact that, you know, the one that's worked for me for the least amount of time is now 7 years, and one has worked, you know, going on 12, 13, 14 years.
Right.
I'd like to think they would.
Yes.
But I'm sure they still have some.
Well, it's about loyalty, isn't it? Either way, you've got loyalty in both ways. They trust you, and they obviously love the way that you and your family work to be there that long time. People don't stay in something for a long length of time.
Well, especially in our industry, it's very rare. But it is. My philosophy is you're as good as the team that you're working with. Yeah. You know, so I can't make, you know, what they produce for me on a nightly basis is sometimes nothing short of a miracle. The kind of volume of people that walk through the door and get served so efficiently at a certain level, I can't do it without them. Yes. So that has to be always in the back of my mind that, yes, it's my place, but they're an integral part of my place. You know,
so how is the menu made up? How is it made up? Is it their ideas, your ideas, a combination? How does it work?
A bit of both. We've got key things on the menu, you know, the main menu, which is tweaked every 6 months, depending on the time of year, but there's key dishes on there that stay constantly. Mm-hmm. But then we have, in normal, not so much now with the lockdown, but in normal situations, we have daily or bi-daily specials. Yes. And that is a real team effort, you know, what's in season at the time, what's good at the time, ideas. You know, the Italian lads who work for me come from 3 separate areas of Italy, so they have 3 different styles of cuisine.
Right.
And sometimes we'll keep it really classic, other times we'll blend things together.
Right.
You know, it's all about...
It could be a fusion.
Yeah, a bit of fusion. And sometimes I'll have an idea and the chef will say, well, yes, it sounds great, but it's not practical. And I'll take that on board. And other times a chef will say something and I don't think it'll be appealing to certain palates, so we'll take that off. So there is a lot going on, but it is a team effort.
What you've got are chefs and workers from different parts of Italy. And like everywhere in the world, different regions have different
cuisine.
Yeah, all of those things. I think the viewers don't realise that. They think, oh, it's an Italian restaurant. It's your bog standard Italian food. You can get a spaghetti bolognese and a margherita pizza. I don't think that that's the case with your restaurant.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head straight away there, because a spaghetti bolognese, I mean, a true bolognese doesn't have tomato in it. It's a meat-based sauce which comes from Bologna region of Italy, which is quite north. And then you mentioned the pizza margherita, which is a classic Neapolitan thing, which is south. So complete different things. And don't get me wrong, you can go to Bologna and have a pizza, and you can go to Napoli and have a northern dish. But if you're looking at traditional regional cooking, they are very, very different. And, and it depends also geographically, because Italy is such a big country. Yeah. What grows in certain areas, you know? So I think the idea that everything in Italy has tomatoes in, that's a classic. Everyone thinks we have tomato with everything. Yeah. I think that would probably stem back to going back years and years when there was a lot of Italians leaving Italy after the war, finding work in other countries. Right. The majority of them came from the south of Italy. That's because it was a more impoverished part of Italy. Right. So there was no work, so they left looking for work, and they brought their cuisine with them. And that goes back even to when they emigrated to America in the early 1900s. Southern Italian cuisine is heavily tomato-based. And that's because the tomatoes grow in the south of Italy, where it's very hot, lovely in the winter. In the north of Italy, you go to the very north, no tomatoes in sight in the regional cooking. Now, I want to repeat, though, you know, don't get me wrong, you can go to the north of Italy now and have tomato-based sauces. But if you go back and look at the historical regional dishes of the north, Milan and north of Milan, Genoa, all around the area, no tomatoes in sight in the traditional recipes. It's all vegetable based, lots of potatoes used. And that's because in the winter up there is freezing cold, as cold, if not colder than the UK, lots of rain, and tomatoes won't grow. Yeah.
In Pulci Pizza, your lovely restaurant, what's the most memorable time that you've had in your restaurant, and what was the occasion?
Oh, that is a big one. I don't know. It's a difficult one. That I think two real incidents that really spring to mind. One is a family from the area who I know well, whose grandfather was an Italian.
Right.
She gave birth to twin sons. I think it was on the Tuesday, and on the Thursday, on her way home from hospital, they stopped at Pulci Pizza with the twins, just 2 days old, and had dinner on the way home.
Oh my goodness.
So that is a real memorable occasion.
Yeah.
And then going to the opposite end of the spectrum, probably about 6 years ago, we had a gentleman came in with his family who was 99 years old and had never eaten pasta in his life. We accommodated the fact that he hadn't had pasta and we gave him something other. But I also took a portion of spaghetti carbonara to the table and I said, that's from me and I'll be delighted if you would just at least try it and see what you think. He came the day after his 100th birthday and celebrated at our place. So they're two really memorable.
Oh my gosh, actually that's incredible. Yeah. That's
and he brought with him the birthday card from the Queen for his 100th birthday.
Wow.
And he came and he had spaghetti carbonara for his meal.
That's happened in your restaurant with, you've been able to share that and make somebody's life amazing. That's really cool.
And then obviously we have loads and loads of celebrations. We often close down to the public to do, special private events and things like that.
Yeah.
Anytime anybody asks me to do that, it really is, it's almost flattering because there's a lot of places they can choose, and for them to want to such a casual place, but to mark a really special occasion. And the feedback I've got from all of them is because it is so intimate and friendly and relaxed, both with the staff and the customers, they feel really comfortable there, and that seems to be really popular for us.
Now, have you ever thought about giving it all up? And what would you do if you did?
I love what I do. It's part of my life. I've just had 10 weeks off work completely without working one day, which has never happened ever in my life. I do have to admit I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Wow.
The fact, just the getting out of bed in the morning and not having to think about anything, I think has been really refreshing for me, because obviously growing up, you're at school, and then after school I went straight into the catering. So from a very young age, it's been full on. For me, a working week is at least a 6-day week. Yeah. That's the norm. And it's 15, 16 hours a day. That is a normal week for me.
And I believe that probably you wouldn't even switch off then.
Because it's my own business, I'm always thinking of what I've got to do the following day or 2 days later. If we close down for staff holidays for a week, I'm already thinking during my holiday what I've got to do to prepare to reopen.
Yes.
So to have 9 weeks, 10 weeks of doing absolutely none of that has been absolutely fabulous. But I'm not ready to give it up yet.
I'm certainly not ready to not come into your restaurant. I know that much.
Now I've got my sons working with me as well.
I was just coming on to saying, what's it like working with members of your family? Because actually, all of your family, your family, you have your wife and your 2 sons, work in the restaurant for however they do it. So what's that like?
Don't get me wrong, we have our moments, and sometimes Kerry has to call me to one side and tell me to keep my voice down a little bit.
Kerry's the wife. Kerry's the wife.
We are human and we are family, and that happens. Having said that, we work surprisingly really well together. I think for my eldest son, Keto, he's worked for me for now going on 4 years.
Right.
First few months was a little bit difficult because it was new to him, new to me to have him with me. And also there's that father-son thing, if I tell him or ask him to do something, well, why am I having to do that? That kind of...
Yes, there's a slight... Hang on yeah.
All of a sudden, he then realises, well, Dad's not asking me to do it just because he wants me to do it. And, it's because it needs doing in the restaurant. And
but it's like putting an extra link in the chain. You have to kind of oil it up and make it work, don't you?
Exactly. So he now works fabulously, really efficient, very friendly, well-known and popular.
No, he is. He's very popular in there,
So it's now got to the point now where, nicely, when we are up and running and open, I can have an odd sneaky night off and know that with the key members of staff we've had for a long time and my son there, everything runs like clockwork. So now I've got my younger son started, and we have got very similar personalities, so we do clash a little bit.
Yeah.
But I've learned from experience with my first son to calm it down a bit, and I think he's seeing that his brother gets on with it. So it's working well.
I think it's it's always a work in progress. I think, especially with family. I mean, you've got that rapport with your staff, but your family are, you have to go home and so who cooks at home? You.
Me. Yes.
But do you cook in the restaurant?
No.
Right.
If I have to, I do, and I can do.
Yes, yeah.
But I prefer to be with the customers, so I employ very, very good chefs to do the work.
Yes. And
it's even harder work in the kitchen, and I prefer to be out the front. And,
it's a different thing. It is like acting, isn't it? Sometimes, I mean, you have to leave everything at home and come in and and put your performance on. But I don't see it as a performance, if I'm honest with you. I always see, when I go to the restaurant, I see that you have regulars. There's a lot of regulars there, so that means obviously they come back because the food is good and the place is good. It very much becomes, sometimes they want you to be involved in their conversations and they'll ask you lots of things, but at the same time you're very aware that you've got to kind of mingle with others. And you don't let them monopolise all of your time. Have you ever walked out of your restaurant, and why did you do it?
Yes, I can remember one incident in particular where I was having a little bit of a barney with the pizzaiolo, which is the man who makes the pizzas.
Right.
Who is a dear friend of mine.
Yep.
Not only have we worked together for many, many years, but we've known each other since we were teenagers.
Yeah.
He's very volatile. I can be very volatile. And we have an unwritten rule that after 7 o'clock in the evening, as long as it's in Italian, they can say what they want to me. They can swear at me, they can shout at me, they can call me this, they can call me that. But it's on the grounds that at 10 o'clock, when we close, it's completely forgotten.
Right.
And we're back to where we were.
Wow.
It does work, and I believe that what that enables is for steam to be released and pressure to be released, because you've got to remember, on a busy night, they can have 15, 20, 25 checks in the kitchen all at once between people eating in and takeaway orders. Everything is cooked to order, nothing's pre-prepared. What they're doing, like I said before, is, in my view, miraculous.
Yes.
To the level that they're doing it and the speed that they're doing it. If I don't allow them to release a little bit of pressure, then what happens is it builds up, and then eventually it explodes. You end up falling out. Somebody walks out. Not only have you lost a friend, you've lost a member of staff.
Yes.
The chain has been broken.
Yeah.
I think by having this unwritten rule, it enables that pressure to be constantly released, so it doesn't build up too much.
It's a very good way of working, actually. And I think it's I think that's teamwork, isn't it? Really, because it's like you said before, knowing your staff and them knowing you. And I think a lot of companies could learn a lot by that, because I think there's always somebody who believes that they are always right, and they lose team members through that, good team members. And like you said, there's no point in doing that, is there? There's no.
It's completely pointless. It's futile because you're making work even harder at the end of the day, not for yourself, but for the other members of staff. So one particular night, I do remember having a more than usually overheated argument with the particular member of staff, and I ended up kicking a bottle fridge door behind the bar, hurting my toe, and then just walking straight out the front door and towards my car and said, I'll leave it all for you guys to sort out. I'm going home. But I was back in the restaurant within 3 minutes.
Yeah. But it's like anything, isn't it? If you feel that you need to walk away from situations, that's the most important thing in everyday life, I think. From everything from, if you've got a screaming child and you can, for 2 seconds, just go into another room. It's all of those things, isn't it? It's just going, I have to just calm this down, I have to calm myself down. So,
but I think naturally as well, I'm not the kind of person to bear a grudge. Little arguments, they'll shout at me in Italian, they'll swear at me, especially because sometimes, you do, not that you want to, but you've taken a few too many checks into the kitchen at once, and it is, with the heat and the pressure, it's hard work. It really is hard work.
So what are your 3 most favourite things on your menu, on your main menu? What's your favourite special that you do?
Right.
For you personally, your personal one.
Yeah, when you say 3 things, I'd probably say a starter and 2 main courses. So my favourite starter would probably be the breaded mozzarella in a tomato sauce. Very, very popular. The secret to our tomato sauce is one.
You need to give your secrets away, Alex.
Well, it's that easy. I'm not going to tell you which variety they are, but it is the variety of tomato that we use for the sauce.
Right.
Is the best variety.
Right.
It's stunning.
Right.
And very little is put in that sauce. It's all about bringing out the flavour of the tomato.
Yeah.
My favourite pizza, I've got to say, is just a plain margherita pizza, classic.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good way of judging how good a place is by having the margherita. Again, down to the quality of the mozzarella that's used and the tomato that's used.
Yeah.
And my favourite pasta dish, I would probably say, is the Italian sausage pasta. We actually have the sausages made in Italy and delivered twice a week.
Wow.
So they are 100% genuine Italian sausage.
Wow.
Really tasty, and it is probably the biggest selling dish we've got on the menu for the past 11 years.
You've missed out one of my favourite puddings. On your special board, what is the thing that I love the most? Cherries.
Italian cherries.
Yeah.
And cherries.
Yes, and what do we have that in?
With ice cream. We do have a lot of customers that when they come in, the first thing they say is, have you got the cherries on?
And again, is that seasonal, or can you get those? Can you get that?
We get them all the time. What they are is a very dark, small, bitter cherry from one particular region of Italy.
Right.
You can get different qualities and different versions of them.
Right.
They are preserved in syrup.
Yeah.
Cherry syrup, all natural. The ones we buy are the best of the best.
Yes.
And
you
don't need anything else. You just need good quality Italian gelato with some of the Amara cherries and the syrup over the top, and you're in heaven.
Well, I certainly am. And what's the most bought pizza from your customers, and what's the most bought pasta, would you say?
The pasta, without a shadow of doubt, is the sausage pasta.
Right.
Pizza, I think the least bought is probably the margherita.
Oh, really?
We do have fans of the margherita. I think most people in this country like a lot of toppings on pizza. They like different toppings and different flavours.
Yeah.
Which is the flip to Italy. If you go to Naples and you go to a traditional pizzeria there, the real old school ones don't sell anything other than a margherita. You don't get a choice. A margherita or you don't have anything.
Yes.
Probably, again, the biggest selling pizza would probably be Italian sausage, pancetta and chili. Is probably one of our biggest selling pizzas.
Yeah.
We do have an increasing amount of vegetarians and vegans coming in. The other thing is most of our, all our regular customers and even people who are new to the place, they learn very quickly that as long as we have the ingredients in,
yes,
we can make anything to order. We, like I said, we don't pre-make anything apart from the base sauces.
Right.
So whether we make it one way or another way, so that way we can tailor make any dish to any customer, dependent on dietary requirements or preferences. It's not a problem.
Has that become stricter now in the actual rules of restauranteering?
Obviously, in the restaurant world, we have to be very careful on the ball with allergens and things like that. Some people have very serious allergies, and you do have to take it seriously. So we do have to make certain statements on the menu and around the restaurant, about dietary requirements. We always ask when we're taking the order if anybody has any allergies, so that way we know immediately, because some people can forget, they go in and forget they've got an allergy. We need to know, because if you have a severe allergy to something, we need to make sure that whatever we prepare for you is nowhere near anything that could possibly contain that and risk cross-contamination.
Yeah, and that's really good to know, because some people say, we cater for all, but they do cross-contaminate and they do things that are are wrong, and clearly people have suffered from that. But I know that you guys would take that really seriously.
No, we're really, really serious about it, and we had one incident a couple of years ago, and I was really, really angry where a customer actually phoned me up a couple of days before stating he was booked in and he had severe allergies to nuts. Right. So I thanked him for letting me know, and we had notes everywhere, notes in the kitchen, notes in the diary. When he came in, we were aware already of his allergy. And then at the end of the whole meal, he asked me for a banana split. And the way we make our banana split classically, it's a classic old school banana split, one of our biggest selling puddings. But before we start building the banana split, we smother the banana with Nutella. It's a chocolate and hazelnut spread. Right. So I said to the gentleman, well, yes, of course, I'll make it for you, but we'll make sure there's no nuts on it and we won't use the Nutella. And he went, forget the nut. He said, leave the nuts off. He said, but you can put the Nutella on. And I said, well, I can't. I said, you've got an allergy. I'm all right with hazelnuts, I think. Yeah. What made me happy more than anything is, he said, the key word to me was, I think I'm all right with hazelnuts.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not interested. At that point, I had to put my foot down and I had to say, look, I said, I'm really sorry, but I'm not serving you the banana split.
Yeah, yeah. But you're not prepared. You're not prepared to even risk it yourself. If he is, that's his thing. But you, as a that would be unresponsible.
He got quite angry with me. He said, "Well, I want it. I'm the customer. I'm ordering it." And I said, "Well, after having called me prior to you coming and stating how severe, and I said, and you've even got an EpiPen on the table. I said, there is no way I am allowing a banana split to come anywhere near this table. Sorry. And if you take offence to it, I'm prepared to take that offence.
Yes.
And if you give me a bad write-up, I'm prepared for that. I said, because...
No, you're doing absolutely what's right for
my
you.
job. Yeah,
that's your job. Yeah, no, yeah. And,
that is the only time where I've had any problems with anybody with allergens. You know, I don't have any allergies, thankfully, but I get hay fever. And I know... And
you have to take it all seriously. Okay, this is my last question, and this is, I'm putting you on the spot here, Alex. If you had to choose 3 famous guests, dead or alive, to eat in your restaurant, who would they be and what would you give them off of your menu?
Wow, this is a good one.
Yes.
My first famous guest, still alive, would be Bruce Springsteen. I'm a big Springsteen fan. Loved him all my life, seen him numerous times in concert. And what would I give him? Probably serve him a nice simple tomato bruschetta to start with basil and sea salt. Probably go for the sausage pasta dish that I mentioned to you last time, earlier. And why not? Would finish off with the ice cream with the Amarena cherries.
But see, it is the boss, and he is the boss. And that pudding, to me, is the boss. So, and me being a big Springsteen fan myself, yes, I think that's brilliant choice of person. And the food too. Your second guest.
My second sounds a bit random. Still on the music side, Beethoven. Yeah, wow. Big Beethoven fan as well. So from one extreme of music to the other.
Oh, gosh.
My grandfather was a big classical music fan, and as a child would be constantly hearing Beethoven in the background.
Amazing.
Which at the time I despised, but then as I got older and appreciated music more, grew to love. So I think, yes, definitely I'd have Beethoven on the agenda for...
And what would you give Beethoven?
That's an interesting one. I think I'd start with a nice mixed antipasto platter to start it off with different cuts of meat.
Because he's got fingers, so they would be everywhere, wouldn't they?
All over the place.
All over the place.
And for that reason, I'd probably go for a pizza as a main course.
Okay.
And I'd probably put something that's got a little bit of a kick to it as well. So
yes.
I don't know. I can just envisage that he likes a little bit of a spicy pizza. I'd probably go for Italian sausage and andouille, which is a spicy sausage paste.
Oh.
That semi-melts on the pizza when you cook it. And very easily, when it comes to your table with the back of your fork, you just spread it over the top of the pizza.
Oh.
Made from pork, meat and chilli. It's got a nice kick to it, lovely warmth and heat to it, amazing flavour. So yeah, I'd probably do that. And then I'd serve him the banana split with the Nutella, as long as he didn't have a nut allergy.
Your third and final guest.
My third and final guest, Sophia Loren.
Wow, now that is a good choice. Oh, yes.
And I think we'd start with some, because I know where she's from in Italy, so it would be popular and probably she'd love it. We'd probably do a mixed fried seafood selection of whitebaits, calamaris, king prawns, things like that. Followed by a nice, delicate, simple tomato spaghetti. Very, very simple. Tomato and basil. And then I think she'd finish with a mango sorbet.
Ooh.
And I'd just sit at a table opposite and just watch her.
Of course, that would go along with the rest of the people in the restaurant who wouldn't be eating. Their mouths are the same.
I think they'd be dribbling rather than eating.
And very, very last thing. I noticed that there are family pictures up on the wall of the pizza.
All over the restaurant.
All over.
Yeah, my grandfather, he sits on the wall, looks down on us every night. I mean, we've got about 20 pictures altogether.
Yeah.
And not a night goes by when we're not asked about the photographs, and people are genuinely seem to be intrigued about them, you know, because they are all, they're not random pictures, that every single one is a genuine Italian family photograph. Yeah,
and you hardly sort of see those kind of photographs anymore. I mean, especially not in restaurants. I mean, people, I mean, I know going to a lot of restaurants, they have pictures of well-known faces, famous people up on the with the restaurant owner, and it's like, this is not. That's why the walls of Pulci Pizza ooze out that family feeling, because they're looking down, they're looking around,
making sure you eat your food.
Keeping an eye on everything, keeping an eye on going there.
My grandmother, who was the most amazing cook in the world,
right? Yeah,
she really was. And I know we all say our grandmothers were the best, but I believe mine was up there. And we have quite a few photographs of her. Yeah. And in the back of my mind, that is just making sure that we stick to our standards, because if we don't, you will know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I would love people just to come to the restaurant. We're going to give them the address of where it is and let them know how, you know, they can come and see it and order food from it, or when they're up this way, because you are in the northwest, aren't you?
We are. We're in Poultry.
Poultry, that's it. A lovely little villagey town, isn't it? Villagey town.
Yeah, villagey town. It's like almost a suburb of Blackpool on the going out.
And it's opposite the train station. If you fancy a little ride there, it's not a sort of like, it literally come out the train station, and it's
6 seconds from the train station.
3 seconds from the train station. You can travel wherever in the world and come out, and you will be at your restaurant. Is that correct?
Destination Pulci Pizza.
Pulci Pizza. Alex, this has been an absolute joy. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much, Alex. I think I hope I'm not taking your time up to get. Yeah, because at the moment of this lockdown, you've been allowed to start back doing takeaways, aren't you now?
We do takeaways, just 3 days a week. But today is a day of rest. I'm completely at leisure. Yeah. And I've been flattered that you asked me to come on your show. And
it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you again, Alex, and take care. Love to the family, love to your staff, love to the restaurant. Big kiss when you go there. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later, Cheryl.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Well, I think you'll agree it's not an easy task owning and running your own restaurant. I'd like to say thank you to Alex for this interview and for his family and the team at Pulci Pizza. During this COVID time, it's really important to support small businesses, as it's been really tough on everyone in all of the hospitality industry, leisure industry, and of course my own industry, the arts. So supporting as much as you can is really, really important. But of course, stay safe while doing it. Thank you again for your continued support. You can catch me on all of my social media. Until the next time, bye for now.